everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Tonight we're going to have some fun because we are going to play with two stencils that were designed to be sister stencils, and we're going to have a lot of fun creating a beautiful card. Plus, I'm going to show you a fun little technique using a masking magic strip. So, we're going to have some fun tonight. Just a quick mention. I'm just thinking about everybody that's in the line of all these storms that are going across the upper Midwest tonight. So please stay safe. I hope that you guys are somewhere inside and safe, and that nobody gets any tornadoes or anything. Gosh, I hate that bad weather. You know, that's part of spring in the Midwest, but it's coming our way too. But I hope you are all safe. So before we get started with tonight's video, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey.
How are you?
I am better than horrible.
I have Zeus hairs all over me.
Yeah, he's around somewhere.
He is.
Prowling. Prowling around the offices.
We brought Zeus to work tonight, so he is somewhere in this building, but we're not exactly sure where. But a little earlier, he was right here in front of me, and I gave him a hug, and I got cat hair all caught in my lipstick.
Yeah, and he was almost all caught up in the wires.
Yeah, he almost... I'm worried about that. I hope he doesn't jump and disconnect the live. If he does, just don't go away. We'll come back, okay? All right, so do you have a word of the day for tonight?
I have a word of the day.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get started. So tonight's stencils that I'm going to use are the Magnificent Magnolia, and this one was part of our 12 Days of Christmas box. And you can see this is a giant Magnolia stencil. These are really big flowers here, and then it's got some smaller flowers and then a bud. And then during our last release, we introduced the mini Magnolia. And you can see how much smaller these flowers are than this big Magnolia. Just as an example, here we go. These are the part ones of each of these stencils. You can see there's a huge size difference. And of course, you can always flip these over and get different orientations. But the biggest Magnolia here is about the same size as the smaller one of the smallest Magnolias on this one. So these work really nicely together, and I thought what we could do is we could use the big Magnolia to do just a soft background and use the mini Magnolia as our main focal image so that we can bring these two together. And I thought tonight, because I've been seeing so many amazing cards in our Facebook group using the cranberry inks, that we should definitely focus on these cranberries. So I've got the dark cranberry, the medium cranberry, and the light cranberry. And I thought that would be super fun to use these tonight to do some really pretty inking. And then for greens, I'm trying to decide, do I want to use the spruces? So let's grab a spruce and take a look at it. I think all of those are... Where are my spruces? Oh, they're up here. I have more inks than I have room in this ink pad thing, but they have a new attachment for this that sits on top, so I'm thinking about getting it and maybe moving this whole thing up here, but we'll see. I still have my other racks, so I don't know that I definitely need it or not, but it's pretty cool. All right, so here are the spruces. Now, I love this combination, but honestly, I feel like it might be a little too Christmassy. The spruces are very Christmas green when mixed with reds. So maybe we'll go with the jelly bean and the fresh asparagus. I feel like that might give it a little bit more brightness. So I think this is what I'm going to do today. We'll hold the spruces for another day. And I just want to welcome everybody who's joining us tonight. I know there's a lot going on the internet today. A lot of things going on. So we are so grateful that you've made time to join us tonight. Okay, so I'm going to take a 1/4 sheet of cardstock here, and I'm going to get my sticky mat, and I'm going to put that sticky mat right here onto that piece of cardstock right onto my sticky mat. And then I'm going to get my ink stand because I am definitely going to be using my ink stands tonight. And I'm going to start with the large Magnolia. Now, I was thinking about doing a cool split greeting. So I was looking through some of my different sentiments and I found the Ruffled Blooms, and I really like this thinking of you. And I was thinking of maybe doing the thinking of you kind of like on an angle. What do you think of that? I think that would be really fun. So I want to block out a little space for that, and I'm going to use some masking magic for that because masking magic won't tear the paper, and it's going to allow us to have that, we're going to stencil all around it and leave that area plain. Now I'm just going to take a masking magic strip and I'm going to put it right over the greeting. Now you can see here that that's not going to be quite big enough for my greeting. Can you see how you can see through it? Now you'd be able to see through it even better if I didn't do it through the plastic here. So let me do this again. So you can see it's not bad, but I think I want just a little bit more room in there. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch masking magic strip, and I'm going to do this on an angle right in the middle, like that. But then I'm going to add one more masking magic strip. Now I'm not going to use a 1/2 inch. I'm going to use something a little bit smaller. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch masking magic strip. Let me see if I can find them. I've got so many in here. I have a lot of masking magic strips. So I want to use a 1/4 inch one. See if I can find a 1/4 inch one. There's a 1/4 inch one. Now I don't need quite that much, so I'm going to overlap it just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to start right on the line and then I'm going to just bring it down a little bit just to widen that space. Now I can see over that masking magic strip that that's going to give me enough space. So you can use 2 masking magic strips just to make it a little bit wider. Does the masking magic lift foil on a foiled background? It might. Foil is a little touchy when it comes to anything sticky. So I would just be a little bit careful with that. What I would do is I would test it. I would have a test piece of foil a polyglaze sheet, and keep it as your test piece for all different kinds of things like that. And just try it over a little bit and see if the foil comes off. I think it might though. So I wouldn't say to do it on something that you worked really hard on. Definitely do it on a test strip. Okay, so we've got 4 layers of this magnificent Magnolia, and I'm going to start down here at the bottom, right here like this. I might come up a little bit. I'm going to come up just like this because if I decide to cut this out with a die, I want to see a lot of this flower. And so if I were to cut it out with, let's say, Master Layouts 2, I want to make sure that my strip is more in the center and that I get enough of the flowers and that the strip is still in the center. I'm going to do some more flowers on this side too. Okay, so because I want to go light in the background, I'm going to start with the light cranberry. And I'm going to break in a new blending brush just for the cranberries because these colors are so special and so unique that I would like to have a couple of brushes just for my cranberries. Okay, so if you feel compelled to tack this down a little bit more, just because it's only really hanging on over here because this piece of cardstock is bigger, I'm going to put a little bit of pixie tape over here just to be safe. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add some light cranberry onto this background. Now, of course, I'm going right over that masking magic, and that's totally fine. So I'm just working my way around. This is kind of a wax on, wax off kind of motion. So you're going in one direction, and then you kind of go in the other direction to make sure that you get it completely filled in. I like having a lot of blending brushes. I really do. And I especially like them for those special colors. Like I have trouble with emerald because emerald is not a turquoise and it's not a blue. It's not a green. I just want it to have its own blending brush. I'm going to take another piece of Masking Magic and just put it right up along here so that I don't get any ink up there on the cardstock. So, you know, if you're like me, you might have a few special colors that you just like to have a blending brush for. Another color I really like having a blending brush for is soft stone because I use it so much as like a grounding panel behind my, you know, when I cut out cute critters or florals, I like to do a stencil and have a little bit of light stenciling back there. And when I mix it with my black brush, I always have to scrub, and it's... that's one that I like to have my own little brush for. All right, I'm going to pull this off. We're going to reuse this Masking Magic. Okay, so now we've got those there, and now I'm going to finish this side before I add more flowers because I don't know where the leaves are going to go. And right now I could put more flowers over here, but as you can see, when I get to the leaf portion of this, wherever these leaves are going to go, I've got to look and see where they go here. But wherever they're going to end up going, there we go. See, if I like put flowers in here, I might run into that leaf. So I want to take my time and do one section at a time. Now the next color I'm going to do is the medium cranberry. Yeah, Masking Magic is just one of those things that I love using. It's so useful. It's useful for die cutting. It's useful for masking. It's useful for making borders around things. It's just one of those really good products that I think a lot of you enjoy. Okay, so once again, I'm going to replace this up here just to be safe. And then I am going to get a smaller brush for this one, and this will be my medium cranberry brush. And a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Brianne, if you wouldn't mind, people do always ask if we could link the inkstand. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, Brianne is our link ninja, and she is definitely so helpful during our lives. So thank you for helping people find the things that they want. All right, so here we're going with that medium cranberry. There have been some amazing cranberry cards in our group lately. I shared Sorum's card. She made a gorgeous cranberry card. I shared that on Instagram and on our Facebook page. And she shared it in our Facebook group. So beautiful. She went real dark with it. Used the dark cranberry, and then for her other layers and her like lowlights, she used dark chocolate with it, and it was amazing. So if you happen to be on Instagram, check out that card on my Instagram, or check it out in our Facebook group. Check it out on our Facebook page, just to see what that color combination looks like, that dark cranberry and dark chocolate. It's amazing. I don't think I would have thought to put those two together, but now I will definitely remember that. Now you can see I'm not going with a super heavy hand here. Because I want this background to be a little bit lighter. So it's still a little bit, I mean, it's colorful, but I think that this is going to be just perfect. Oh, those are so pretty. Okay, now we're going to move into some of the greens. So I'm going to go to Jelly Bean Green next. And we've got 2 layers of greens here. So I'm going to start with the biggest layer. And we'll get that right into place here. These are pretty easy to see. So even if you're not 100% sure, don't worry about it, because we're not die cutting this, because there isn't a coordinating die for this one. So if it's a little off here or there, it's really not going to make that much of a difference. All right, let me find my green brush. I know I have a green brush here. And we'll do some jelly bean. Okay. This is a great color. And I wanted to let you guys know that tomorrow, my friend Megan Andrew is going to be going live at 11 o'clock Central Time, noon Eastern. And she's going to be featuring Gina K Designs products again. So it's always fun. I love to pop in and see what she's got planned. And I'm going to visit her on her live. I'm actually going to come into her live stream and say hello to everybody. And I might have something special too to share with you. So I hope you'll join Megan on her channel tomorrow. Okay, so we have that. And I will post about that in the Facebook group and here on YouTube and stuff so that you don't have to try to remember everything. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, so. Okay, and now I'm going to do this fourth layer. And I feel good now that my greens are on there.
You have the same thing every day for breakfast.
I do. Not every day. Not every day, actually. Sometimes when you make pancakes, I do have that. But I do. I'm a creature of habit. Is anybody else like that? Do you guys tend to eat the same thing over and over again? As a diabetic, it really works for me because I know what's going to work and what isn't going to work. And sometimes it's easier for me to eat the same thing because I know exactly how much insulin to take for it. I'm going to use some fresh asparagus here now. And I'm not going to go real heavy-handed. I just want to create a little bit of shading, but I don't want it to be too deep green. I like what I eat for breakfast, though, most days. So.
Question.
Yes.
Marcia wants to know, Gina, may I ask which of your inks you feel you need a separate blending brush for?
Well, like I said earlier, I do like Emerald Coast to have its own. I like Soft Stone to have its own. And I'm finding that I like Black to have its own. And some of the special colors, like the cranberries, are just so different from most of the other reds that I like to have something for that as well. Oh, Peggy, I don't know what time I'm going to be on SBC Fest. It's like one big event, and it kind of like starts at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and it just plays right through. So I don't really know. All right, I'm going to add another flower up here. You know, I don't know if I should mix the two. We'll have to see. This is an experiment for me, whether or not I actually want to mix the two stencils. I was thinking of going darker with the Dark Cranberry and then popping that up over this, but this is looking so pretty. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so I'm going to go with the light cranberry again on this one. I really did want to have a lot of the flowers right over this greeting area. And then I thought we could look at it and decide if it needs a little bit of layering. And I have a fun little trick for adding a little bit of black to that. Okay, so we've got that one there. Let's add the lighter color, the darker color. There we go. And then I'm going to put this right here again, even though I don't know that I need it. It's just a me thing. I don't want anything to damage it, you know? Okay. See, I'm starting on the stencil to kind of get some of that ink off. And then if I need more ink, I can go back over that same spot and I can grab a little bit more of that ink. I can go anywhere and grab some of that ink if I need it to be a little darker. think that's good. That looks really pretty. Now, if we want to do anything else to this, we certainly can. We can add more stems in here if we want. Like here, this is the stem for that flower. Actually, this is the stem for that flower. But I want to use this one because it's going to come down onto the card right here. And I don't want all this to overlap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to block that off with Masking Magic. Just like that.
Clifford and his families, they're watching from underneath the pool table.
Oh my goodness, Clifford! Clifford and I were chatting in our Facebook group. Clifford, please be safe. Oh my goodness. It's so nerve-wracking when that kind of stuff is going on, you know? Okay, so that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave it like that. Now we're going to see if we need anything else here, but I am going to make that little piece that I wanted to use as the main focal image. But let me show you here. When I pull this off, now I've got this opening going right across where my greeting is going to fit in there just like that. So it's giving me a space. And that's why I wanted to cut this other design out. I could even have it on this side and put my other flower over here. And I might do that. So let's just see. We're going to do a little die cutting and see what happens with all of this. So I'm going to get the die cutting machine. And I am going to cut out one of these mini magnolias now. Yes, we are all praying for Clifford and his family and everybody in the line of those storms. I don't like it. I love spring, but that's the one thing about spring that I'm not fond of is the weather. It's crazy sometimes. So a lot of people will ask me, and they ask in the group, what's the right order when it comes to stenciling on a die cut piece? And I always say that whenever you have a stencil, a layered stencil that has a coordinating die, always cut the die first. And the reason for that is because all you have to do is be just a little bit off, just shift it a little bit to the right or to the left with your stencil, and it's going to drive you nuts trying to die cut that image out. It's just not going to line up properly. But if you cut it out first, you're going to know if your stencil's not aligned properly. So go ahead and cut your piece out first and see. My thought is that I would have part of this flower maybe coming in like this. We have to see too, because that greeting might be a little bit too big. We'll see. We can always use a smaller greeting. We can always put a friend greeting in there. We can always put hello in there. We can figure it out. We can always put, you make my world a better place, because I did make it big enough that some of these will fit. So we'll see. We might not need it at all, but even if I went like that and this whole thing was darker, and then we did Thinking of You in here, that might work. All right, let's see. So I've got this cut out. And then we're going to stencil on that. Now, if this doesn't work, I'm going to just turn these into 2 cards. I mean, why not, right? We're going to try things, but if things don't work out the way we want them to, we can just always use those pieces. Now, here's one little thing that'll make it a little bit easier when it comes to die cutting and inking on your die cut piece, stenciling on your die cut piece. Take your first stencil and line it up to where it's supposed to be. Now, you can see I had it flipped around wrong because there's the name. So once I get this where it's supposed to be, then I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to put it onto my sticky mat so that it's straight up and down. This way I know my stencil is going to, all my stencils are going to be like this. If I just threw it on there any which way, I'd be twisting and turning trying to figure out which way the stencil is supposed to go. So this really does help by doing that first. Did that make sense, Tom?
It did.
Okay.
Julie has a question.
Yes.
Julie wants to know, she said we're out of fresh asparagus. What's the best substitute?
Grass green is a really good substitute for fresh asparagus because grass is darker than jelly bean. It's not quite as dark as fresh asparagus, but it certainly will suffice to be a two-color blend with jelly bean. Okay, so I'm going to start with the light cranberry just to get it along all the edges of the flower, just so that we have some of this color in there. You can see how small this one is, because I want some of it to be light. But now I'm going to go right to the medium cranberry, and I'm going to get that smaller brush, and still sticking with this stencil, I'm going to start bringing some of that medium cranberry in. I'm going a little darker here. Boy, these cranberry inks, they were a long time coming. We used to have a color in our collection called cranberry, and then our ink pad company couldn't get the pigments anymore to make it, and we had to discontinue it. And then finally they were able to make it again, and I was so excited that we could do it as a trio. I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity. Okay, so you could see now I'm blending that darker color more near the bottom, keeping those edges at the top very light. Now I'm going to go in with the darkest cranberry, and we're going to go to our second layer. I really don't need this pixie tape on there. It was stuck pretty well. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? It's so pretty. And we're going to go to our second layer here. If you're ever struggling for more than a couple minutes trying to line up your stencil, just make sure that you don't have it upside down, because that happens. Happens to the best of us.
Judy wants to know, is this the large Magnolia?
This one's the mini. This is the mini Magnolia. The mini Magnolia has the die. The Magnificent Magnolia, which is the big one, that one doesn't have a die. So that's more for a background technique. Now I'm going to use a detail brush here, and I'm not going to go all the way. Actually, I'm going to fix this because this is not exactly where I want it. I want this to go right to the bottom of this magnolia flower, like that. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to add this really dark color just down here near the bottom, just to brighten it a bit. And I'm putting the stencil on here because if I just use the first layer for this, I would definitely go up too high. This prevents me from going up into those areas that I don't want it to. That's why even though I'm not doing the whole thing, I'm not filling in the entire layer here, I still want the stencil on there just to help keep me within the lines a little bit.
Sue wants to know if it's possible that could you show the cranberries and the carnation trios side by side?
Sure. Okay. So now let's take a look at that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Just that depth in there. And you can see the difference when you add that third color. It just really makes a difference. Okay. Now we're going to go with the big layer. I think they're all upside down. I just had it flipped in my bag, in my stencil pocket. Okay. So now we're going to do the greens again. We're going to do the jelly bean, and then we're going to do the fresh asparagus. So jelly bean all over. This one too, different than the other Magnolia set. This one has some different kinds of leaves. Like it's got this branchy kind of leaf that the other one does not have. The other one just has the big open leaves. Okay. And you can see how easy it is to center this because I cut it out first. So it's so easy for me just to line it up, you know, find that spot where it needs to line up. And then lay it down. It's good to go.
Which master layouts for A6 card?
17. ML17. A6, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm adding this fresh asparagus in there.
And Leanne is asking, how do you know when to switch from a large brush to a small brush to detail brush?
Well, when I only want to get around the edge of the stencil, I don't want to do the whole stencil, that's when I use a detail brush. When I am, you know, mixing several colors together and I don't need a big brush for the second layer because the areas, the openings are so much smaller, I'll use the small brush. And then when I'm doing my first pass where the areas are the biggest openings, I usually use the large brush. Okay, so let's take a look at this and see how these look together. Now, if I pop this up, it just gives me all those extra magnolias in there. Kind of like the way that looks. I probably could have gone even softer in the background, but I feel like this is just a really pretty mix. And I feel like adding this darker makes this stand out even a little bit more. I like mixing them. I think that looks pretty. So I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Okay. So now I just want to show you what this would look like if we decided to add a little bit of black contrast along that opening. So I have a piece of cardstock here. I have a black piece of cardstock, and I'm going to get my paper cutter. And then the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is even. Like I'm going to cut it at the 4-inch mark here. All right, so we'll just cut it at 4 inches. Now, since we're dealing with 1/8-inch borders, and you can even do a 1/16 of an inch border if you want, I can go up just 1 notch, which would give me a 1/16 of an inch. So let me zoom in so I can show you what I mean by 1 notch. All right, I'm zooming way in here. So here's my 4. 1 line over from that 4, here's the 4, and then the next line over is a 1/16 of an inch. The next line over is an 1/8 of an inch, and then the next bigger line is a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do a 1/16 of an inch strip. So I'm just going to that next little notch right there. Okay. There's a 1/16 of an inch strip. And now I'm going to go 1 more little notch to the next 1/16 of an inch strip. And there is another 1/16 of an inch strip. And you see, these are super skinny. And that would be really hard to cut if you were trying to like measure it off the edge. But look how pretty this would look if I put that strip right there, right? And I put 1 strip right there. That's going to blend right into my whatever master layouts I cut this out with, and it's going to highlight it so nicely. So I think I'm going to do that. Now the tape that I have is 1/8 of an inch, so that's going to be too wide. You can see that that is twice as thick. So I'm just going to use some Connect glue for this instead. And you can use the Connect mat if you want. Maybe I should use the Connect mat. I'm trying to decide here if I should use Connect mat or if I should use my regular Connect. Now the big difference between the Connect mat and the regular Connect is the regular Connect is a stickier glue. So things just like hold down really quickly. But the matte glue is great for embellishments and for die cut pieces. So I think I'm going to use the regular Connect glue for this, and I'm just going to get a little strip of paper here just to make sure that
Here's a question.
all over.
When you cut, do you cut right on the line or right up against it?
Like on the paper cutter?
Yes.
I cut right up against it. But it doesn't really matter as long as you always do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like if you are consistent about where you cut, then they should all match. All right, so here we go. So I've got Connect glue on there. And I'm going to put it right on the line. Like that. And then I'm going to kind of work it so that it goes right to the edge there. Try to get it as straight as possible. That looks pretty good because I'm going to die cut this whole thing. So it doesn't matter if it's hanging off a little bit because I'm going to actually come in with a die and cut the whole thing. The reason why I'm doing this part first is because I actually want to make sure that I get my stitches from my die into the black as well. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay. And I'm going to do that again on this side. I can't believe I'm stamping last. I should have stamped first, right? So if I messed any of this up, I should have stamped my greeting and then put masking magic over it and done all the stenciling and everything so I knew my greeting was perfect. But you know, we're just all going to have to hold our breath together and hope for the best.
Don't have a date for the next release yet, do we?
No, we're hoping that it's going to be on the 24th. That is the plan, but we still don't have our stamps or our dies in-house, so I don't know what's taken so long, but things are a little behind right now. Okay, there we go. So I've got those two lines in there.
Can you recommend another stencil that would work with this if you don't have this stencil?
Oh gosh, any of our stencils will work with this. The only thing is that we don't have very many stencils that have dies. We have our Whimsical Primrose, which is kind of big, but we do have that Divine Rose, which would be beautiful. And then you just have to find a different stencil for your background. Now, just to make this a little bit easier, I'm just going to use my scissors to trim this off for now. Just to get rid of those so they're not hanging. But that's pretty cool, huh? Okay, now I'm going to look here and see if I use Master Layouts 2. You know, if I use Master Layouts 2, and I cut it just like that, and I cut it perfectly centered, I'm going to add the black panel in the center and pop the whole thing up, and then those little extra areas on the end are still going to be there. So before I do that, I'm going to trim those with a paper cutter to make sure they're nice and crisp, because this is an A2 size panel. So I'm just going to trim this just to make sure that it's, because I just cut it real haphazardly with the scissors. So I just want to make sure. This one looks fine though on this side. Okay, so that's nice and crisp. Okay, now let's go ahead and get the die cutting machine again. Oh, I'm going to back out a little bit. That's super, super. I know. I'm not going to cut it off because it's too pretty. It's kind of fun to go through the thought process with you guys here. So now I want to make sure that this is straight, and I'm going to lay this and center it. So I want to make sure that it looks centered. And then I'm going to have to hold it down with some Masking Magic strips because I don't want it to shift. Yeah, I think it's going to look cool. I love that we're doing this all together. Okay. Alrighty. So we're going to put that there to hold it down. And we're going to put this here to hold it down. All right. I might even put one more. Okay. All right. Now wish me luck that nothing shifts, and we're going to run that through. And remember, we're running it through like a couple thick spots. So if you're concerned about that, you can always run it through a second time if you think it didn't cut all the way through, like on these sides. You can run it through a second time. I'm a little worried about it, so I might do that. I might just flip it over here and just run it through a second time. Okay. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Gently removing the Masking Magic. Even though our Masking Magic is so unlikely to tear the paper, when you put that much pressure on it, it's always good just to take your time and not just rip it off real fast, willy-nilly.
Is that band from the 80s?
Willy-nilly? The lip sync band of willy-nilly? Okay, there we go. So it cut out really nicely. And I know that you can't see it on the camera, but in real life, the stitches penetrate through the black and it really finishes it off so nicely. And then we're gonna pop this up and it's gonna just make it look like a cool 3D banner kind of thing. So we're saving both of these pieces and move the die cutting machine away. Yeah, Willy Vanilli. That's good. Willy Vanilli. Oh, I do need to cut one more. I need to cut the black panel for Master Layouts 2. So let's go ahead and do that. I do have a black layer right here, a piece that I was trimming the strips off of. Hopefully that will fit. So we need this layer. Oh, I think it'll fit. It's tight, but I'll just throw a piece of Masking Magic on there just so it doesn't shift. Or two. Okay. This is going to be fun, this card. I'm reading all your comments, both on my laptop and on the screen in front of me. All right. There we go. Now I can put this away for a little bit. I don't think I'm going to need this anymore because we're going to stamp. This is really stuck. When you clean the feet of your intracut, it really does stick, but it does actually even allow you to run it through with one hand. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to layer these two panels together. I can zoom back in a little bit. I think so too. I think it's really... Your refrigerator or your microwave isn't going off. It's my pump, my diabetic pump. Okay, I'm gonna do this part first, and then I'm gonna put this in the MISTI and stamp the greeting. Anybody else nervous about the greeting like I am? It's all right. We can make it. We could do it. I have faith in the process. Okay, and you can see how this is going to look when we pop this up on top. It's just a really cool look. Alrighty. Now, so I'm just going to lay this here for a second because I want to see where this one should go. I can even do this like this way and pop that up. And then let's pick a greeting. Now I did also have this one, A Friend Like You Is Hard to Find, but I don't know if I left enough space. I don't think I did. So we're gonna have to pick one of these. So just give me a second to pick, Tom, and then I think it'll be time for the word of the day. You make my world a better place. Boy, that would be so pretty right there, wouldn't it? You make my world a better place. Now, I don't know that it's going to fit, so let me show you how I'm going to find out if it's going to fit. Because I don't want to get started stamping and then, you know, find out that it was just a little bit too big. So, oh, Zeus, hi. He's back there. So I'm going to lay this down, and then I'm going to take the acetate sheet off of this stamp set, and I'm going to lay that on top. So now this is all protected. And now I can place this greeting onto this, and I get the feeling this is going to be too big. So I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to use some black ink. Find my black. I get the feeling this might be a little bit too thick. That's okay. That's okay. You can watch the kitty. He's super cute. Yeah, see, it goes outside of that, and I don't like that look. So by checking it first, and I think it's good that we checked it first, we can clean this off. We can clean that stamp off, and then we can try different stamps here. So let's go back to the Thinking of You and see what that looks like. I feel like that's going to look really good. But we may not be able to get much of this flower in there unless we take it all the way down near the bottom and cut it off. Maybe we don't even need it. Maybe if I did it right in the center and we could just do the card just like that. All right, let's take a poll here. I'm going to do a poll. All right, let's start a poll. Should we use the additional flower or center the greeting? Okay. Center the greeting. Use the additional flower. All right, here we go. We're starting the poll. So you guys go ahead and vote. It just popped up, and we'll see what you guys want. So, oh, everybody, looks like a lot of people are liking the centering of the greeting. Center that greeting. Thinking of you. We could turn this one into another little card. Okay, people aren't sure. Okay, so just to help see this a little bit better, we would have the Thinking of You in the center like that. Now, if we did the Thinking of You way up here, then we could add a little bit of the flower over here. We could even just add a small bit and chop the rest off. So let's see if that changes anything. I'm gonna look. Oh, people really like the greeting centered. Do both. Do both, huh? Because I gotta be honest with you, I do really like the greeting kind of being off center like that. But I feel like you can't just leave that empty, right? You gotta have something else. Maybe we could just trim off like this single flower and put it right in there. This way we could have that. Okay. Mary, the poll is pinned to the top of the chat, so you should see it. All right, people want the greeting centered, Tom. What do you think?
I like what you were just doing there.
This or this?
That.
You like that?
I do.
Oh my gosh. Trim the flower into the corner. Okay. All right. A lot of people are saying trim it. I'm going to end the poll because I'm reading a lot of the comments here. And I know I'm going against the poll when I do this, but I do like that. All right. I'm going against the poll. People are not going to like that, but I'm going against the poll. And I'm going to put and if I'm sorry in the end, it'll be all on me, guys. And we can just laugh and say, you were right. Okay. So, okay, a lot of you are saying you like it both ways, so maybe you won't be too upset with me. All right, so now I've got my greeting where I want it. Now I'm going to pull this off. This is the acetate sheet. Okay, some people are changing their mind. So some people are saying the center is much better. And you may be right. But I'm taking a shot here. Taking a shot. I'm going outside of the pole. I'm going to stamp it twice just to get it a little blacker. I'm going to stamp it 3 times just to get it a little blacker. Okay. All right. Now, here comes the surgery, because we gotta surgically shrink this flower down. So we could just actually just bring this in right here and just trim it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trim it with the die, so it's going to have all the stitches in the right places. And then we can pop it up, okay? So here's what I'm going to do so I know where it has to be. I'm going to take this die and I'm going to lay it on top here of this design, just like that. And then I'm going to take a piece of Masking Magic and I'm going to tape it onto the die like that, okay? All right. And I'm going to put that aside. And then we're going to get the die cutting machine. I know some people are upset. I'm sorry. All right, Tom. Now, while I do this, why don't you let everybody know your word of the day? See, I'm being very careful here to not move that around too much.
Okay, it's time for
Word of the day, oh hey, hooray, let's laugh it up, don't delay. Word of the day, it's here to stay.
Zeus is unimpressed.
He can't hear it either.
Okay, here it is. Next to fruit salad, what is the second favorite adult beverage in the Gina K studio?
Next to fruit salad.
Come on. I know somebody will get it. Nobody? Of course, it's craft beer.
Oh, that's so funny. I saw somebody actually post that they went to a bar that said craft beer and they brought craft supplies because they thought it was like a place to drink and do crafts. So
Yes.
You're not that far off.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Word of the day, back with Zeus in the dead space.
That's good. Okay, so I cut this down using the die so all the stitches would line up. And that's what that's going to look like. And now I can put that right down here and line those stitches up, and it's going to line up perfectly like that. And that just gives us that little bit of overlap. Can you see real close there how you see no break in the stitches at all? So that makes me feel better. And now this one here, I'll keep this one because if I want to do this on another card, I can bring this in on the side, on this side, and I can stamp my greeting more on this side. So why waste that? I can make a second card out of it. And I feel like having that greeting just on the one side is a little more eye appealing. Okay, there we go. I need to get some grease on that. And this here, I don't know where that goes, but that's something. Okay, I'll save those. And then we'll go ahead and we could pop this up if we wanted to. We could pop it up ever so slightly. The stitches will still all line up and it'll give us a little bit more dimension. Should we do that? We'll still have stitches. Let's do it. What the heck at this point? I already took some chances here.
Anna Griffin suggested on the inside.
Oh, good idea. Yes. We could definitely put that on the inside. All right, let's see what this looks like. If we pop this up, we can still have the stitches, so the stitches still line up, but now it's got a little bit more dimension too. All right, I feel good about this. So let me find my tweezers. Here they are. And the big thing is to line up the stitches. So we're going to go right to the corner. And once we get that lined up, then everything else should line up really nicely. I think that's it. That looks pretty good. Now we've got more dimension in that card. And I love mixing those two stencils together where the bigger one is just more in the background and then this one is more popped up to give us the dimension. Now we could use some pink cardstock for this. I think Innocent Pink would be really pretty with the cranberry. That would be really pretty, but maybe we should just go all out and do cranberry. I mean, there's a lot of pink in, oh yeah, look at that. I think we need to do the cranberry card base. It really makes this shine down here. Okay, so let me find my paper cutter. And you can see I have a bent corner here, so I got the bent piece. You know I always do. Just had to take a chance. Okay.
Lori, Zeus is in a little kitty basket.
Yeah, he's in a little kitty basket.
See the kitty ears on the basket in the back?
He likes that basket. We keep it here at work so that it's like something special for him when he comes here. Okay. There we go. Oh, you know what we were going to do? Wait a minute now. I've got the cranberry card base here, but we were going to use this panel, weren't we? We were going to use this piece. All right, let's look at both of them. So if we didn't use the cranberry and then we pop this up. Oh, you see, I like that better. If we just do this, I don't hate this. But I feel like the whole purpose of saving this was so that we could pop it up. So let's pop it up. Let's pop it up We could even use this cranberry card base if we want to, just so that it's got a little bit of cranberry on the back, but we'll have to trim it down a little bit because I trimmed a little off of here, remember, to make it fit a little better, or to just smooth out these edges. So we'll have to just trim that down just a little bit to make it work. That's why I think I might use white, and I'll save this cranberry because if I use white and anything isn't absolutely perfect, you won't see it. If I use the cranberry and something isn't perfect, you're going to see it. So I'm just going to do this white one. We have to use this piece. We did all that work to save it.
Gee, plans get nervous around Gina K. They know they're going to go right out the window.
You know, it's all right. Plans were made to be broken. I heard somebody say, God laughs when you make plans. So that kind of made me feel good knowing that he's in control and I'm not. Okay, so I think that's good. Even if we see a little bit on the back, I think that's good. Let me clean all my mess off of here. There we go. I want it to look good. And now I'm going to just put a little bit of tape right around the perimeter here.
Zeus does love to travel, and car rides and everything.
He does. We trained him to think that the pet carrier was the only place that he could get like that, one of those kitty go-gurt things. And so we call the kitty carrier the yummy box because that's when he gets to have something yummy, when he's in the kitty carrier. So now when he sees the kitty carrier come out, he's like, ooh, I'm going to get a treat. He doesn't think he's going to the vet. All right, there we go. So we've got that on there. Got a little tape there. I can rub that off. All right, now we're going to use some foam squares to pop this up. And I'm going to use quite a few here because I don't want this to sink in the middle. Now you could like stack, you could cut out a bunch of pieces of cardstock like Megan did in her video for the greeting. She stacked a bunch of pieces. You could do that, but yeah, I think we need to have that all line up really cute like that. So pop it up, pop it up. So if you stacked a bunch of like old cardstock you messed up on, packaging, whatever you want, if you cut a whole bunch of master layouts too out of it, you could stack them, 5, 6 high, and then you wouldn't need the foam squares. But let's just use the foam squares because they're easy. I'm going to see overhead if that looks like it's lined up properly. I think it's off to the one side a little bit too much. So I'm going to gently pull this apart. That's okay that they're there. They wanted to stay. I'm good with that. I just need it to be centered. That looks good. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now I think I'm going to add a couple little embellishments. It might be a little bigger on this side than this side, but we can take care of that just by trimming a tiny little bit off, and then it'll look more centered. We'll see if we can do it. Can we do it? There we go. That looks a little better to me. That was scary.
The card surgeon.
So now let's put a couple little embellishments on here, just a little bit of sparkle, and we'll use the just the plain flat sequins. And we'll just put them in and around the greeting. Just start the glue, make sure that it's not going to blob out. Oh, I need my pin. I'll just use the other glue for now because I don't know where I put my pin. I cleaned up in here, now I can't find anything. Okay, so let's put one here. We'll put one up here.
I'll find it with my bare feet.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Put one here. Let's do one up here. And you can do one up here. We'll do 5. I had a straight pin, a stainless pin, but you know how things disappear when you need them the most. One there. One there. One there. One here. And one up there. So I'm just going to tap those down. Make sure they're flat. And let's zoom in a little bit so you can take a look at this finished card. There we go. With all the sparkle and shine. I'm glad we did it over to the left or the right a little bit. I'm bad at left and right. I'm glad we went to the right a little bit and we added that extra flower and popped it up. I feel like that just made it a little bit more interesting than just a plain greeting across the center. And in real life, you can really see the dimension of this being popped up and also of this being popped up. So lots of dimension on that card. That was so much fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did. And but I do appreciate all your input. And I do think that, you know, if you had the right greeting, maybe a little bit of a longer greeting, having it right in the center definitely would look good too. So, you know, you can do it any way you want. This is just the way mine turned out tonight. Well, that was so much fun, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Now, if you are new here to the channel, we're going to give away a gift card too tonight, so don't go away. And if you've never watched our channel before, all you have to do is leave a comment and you'll be entered. And then Tom is going to draw a random name from all of the comments. So if you're new here, we would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And also, if you are not a subscriber, we would love you to hit that subscribe button. And then there'll be a little drop down and you can hit all notifications so you never miss another video. And then if you're not part of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there. It's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. All you have to do is make sure you answer the questions and agree to the rules, and our moderators will let you right in. And then you can see all kinds of inspiration using these stencils and all of the other Gina K Designs products in our line. And another shout out to Brianne Loveland. Thank you, Brianne, for all of your help today in linking everything for everyone. But if you missed any of Brianne's links, you can find everything that I used in tonight's video on our website at ginakdesigns.com. All right, let's give away a gift card, Tom.
Oh,
you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get our drummer going. All right, tonight's winner is Bonnie Krogman. Bonnie Krogman!
Yay, Bonnie! Congratulations, Bonnie. You are our winner. We're going to send you a $15 gift card to Gina K Designs. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@GinaKDesigns, and they will get that right out to you. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us again tonight. We really appreciate all of you being here and making time for us. Don't forget, Megan Andrew is going live tomorrow on her channel at 11 Central, 12 Eastern Time, and I'm going to pop in on her live with her for just a little bit, and I've got something fun to share with you, so I hope you'll join us for that. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.